Greetings, greetings. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings to all in the room.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for joining us, His Excellency Sharif. Also, the young lady I wanted to introduce you to, she's here now. Her name is Janice Da Silva from Cabo Verde. Also, Herschel Daniels and Don Coker here. These are the key people. I have, though, invited my own operations officer, Otats Yellow. He's coming in now, and he's invited a few of his professionals. The intended outcome for today is just to address what you have brought to the table, Sharif LA, in particular, but the people on the phone on this conference call, I believe, can help work and network with you on an extended basis, not just with this, but other projects as well. So thank you so much. I'm very appreciative of your time. So let me first, I've already begun recording, and as soon as I admit Otats Yellow, I'll do the introductions. Perfect. Or at least, yes, thank you so much. Dr. Yellow, can you hear us? Are you in? Dr. Otats Yellow, are you in? Can you hear us?
Loud and clear, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I've already begun recording. All the key principles are on the line right now. So let me begin by saying that it is Janice Da Silva who in 2019, she and I co-founded or co-launched an organization called the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors, Activists, and Advocates. This was in 2019 on International Peace Day. We had been collaborating together for several years up to that point, but she has her background in the United Nations. In particular, she'll explain to her background. So Janice, take time to do that. But her idea was that because she's multilingual, she speaks not just Portuguese, but also French, Spanish, and English, that she would be in a prime position to represent a region for my organization. So in addition to her own Cabo Verde, the idea was to expand throughout the Lusophone or Portuguese-speaking countries, particularly in Africa, including Angola. And then we decided, well, let's look at the entire globe, and that includes Lusophone countries such as Brazil. So her mentor, who unfortunately has passed away, was a former minister. He suggested that she focus on ECOWAS. So the intent was for her to be the one to develop our ideas and take them in throughout the entire ECOWAS system. This was back in September of 2019. From then until now, she's developed her own plan called DEV-17, focused specifically on the Sustainable Development Goals. And she's developed a country plan for her own country that could be expanded throughout ECOWAS and globally. But the reason I brought her here now is because she's just one of a dozen of these representatives around the world. I've invited several of them to attend today. Each one represents a separate lingual group or a separate regional group. So the idea was that, for example, here in the United States, as you know, although Spanish is not a quote official language, the majority of our population is Hispanic. So for Puerto Rico, we have Colonel Luis Cruz Diaz, who's representing not just Puerto Rico, but the Hispanophone community and others. But for these purposes today, Janice, I'll just please, if you would be so kind, take your time and introduce yourself. And that way we can begin to move forward, because the idea was that those of us who have multiple years in the philanthropic field have an intent now to take advantage of the disaster that we find ourselves in, where there will have to be trillions of dollars spent every year to advance the Sustainable Development Goals. And with the recent pandemic, there'll be trillions of dollars that have to be spent on agriculture, food-related projects, and health. So our intent is to funnel those dollars through our hands in a commercial enterprise so that we can support our humanitarian projects. So with that, Ms. Janice Da Silva, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and let's take it from there.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. It's a big pleasure to see you again. And I thank you for this opportunity for, making this contact with this colleagues, this strategic stakeholders from Africa, if I well understood, and from the US as well. As you are always generous when you introduce me. So thanks. I am just a simple woman that believes in sustainable development. And, it's true that you said, I've been working for the UN. It's been 22 years now. And I just decided to retire from the UN and to continue working on development from a civil society perspective. That is why you and I met. You invited me to join your 5 Points Youth Foundation. And as you mentioned, based on those interactions, we decided to create AHIABGA, You are so generous when you say that I was one of the co-founders, co-chairs of AHIABGA. Thank you. And the idea, I think it's, it's really strategic what you are trying to put in place, because we cannot work on development without, combining it with initiatives like this that you are mentioning, and this cooperation, USA veterans with Africa is the most welcome for us Africans. And yeah, basically is to tell you that I'm happy with this opportunity, and let's see what comes from these efforts, from this collaborative. The idea of launching DEV17, it was basically to create to put in place a global platform, and that is thanks to your to your inspiration. You've been inspiring all of us, your goodwill ambassadors, and we really appreciate that. You show us that there are no frontiers, boundaries when we want to do something, and something concrete for our countries, our region, our continent, for the world. So we owe you this, Mr. Andrew. It's true that now DEV17, basically, I'm trying to discuss with some mayors here in Cabo Verde how we can put in place strategic and inclusive development program. Today, in the morning, I just had a meeting with a dozen of stakeholders here in Cabo Verde. And they are so interested in, because we talk about development, we are on a crisis, moment, how we can, localize, and I like your term, how we can localize the localization of the SDGs. So DEV17 is basically to bring on board our efforts, our, our thoughts, to bring on board different, profiles, different stakeholders, to think or to rethink sustainable development from the, civil society perspective. So it's an honor for me to be here, and let's exchange and see how we can move forward. Thank you, Andrew.
You're very welcome. Herschel Daniels, you're actually the bridge between the veterans here in the United States and what His Excellency Sharif Balday is bringing to the table. I do want to mention, Janice, that we do have members of our team that are in fact involved with mayors throughout the world. So I understand you'll be traveling here later this month with a mayor from Cabo Verde. So I hope what Herschel will be able to do is to, again, connect those dots commercially as well as from a cultural exchange. But with that, Herschel, perhaps you can introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce our guest, and His Excellency Balday, then we'll introduce you, and we'll move forward. Thank you so much. So Herschel Daniels.
Yes, okay. Andrew, if I would have known you've been recording this, I would have suited up and have been appropriately, I should have known.
Well,
Okay.
this is just for our internal use. This won't be broadcast. This is for
All
our
right.
internal use.
Thank you for not streaming this.
And you're again, we're all among family. And the whole idea is for us to treat this as though this is a family affair because we all have everything at stake.
So I am the founding chairman and current chairman of Friends of the African Union, which was created on the call of Ambassador Ali of December 16th, 2011. It is an organization of the people of the African diaspora with the idea that in 2012, that there was going to be assigned to us a series of tasks and that we needed an organization that would be able to cross the bridge of domestic financial institutions in Africa and in support of the 300 million of us who are in the global African diaspora, as well as on the continent. Having lived in Africa for various times, both first visiting Africa as a young person in my household, which is, I'm a Kappa legacy in the fraternity. And I had the privilege of starting at age 12, really, going overseas, visiting family in the Americas, and before 18, visiting the continent. Then while serving in the military, I lived in Europe for quite a while and visited the continent on a regular basis. When I got out of the military as an electronics communication, satellite and cryptographic officer, I was an oceanographic tech, and I actually worked on a contract with NOAA with the Egyptian government and lived in the port in Alexandria, what we call living on the economy. And as long as I kept my mouth shut, okay, I was recognized as Nur, or at that time, I spoke pretty decent German. Okay, and so it was a interesting and a learned time for me. And I went to study up in Luxor. Later in life, I served as Chief of Staff to His Excellency David Morrow, who was the Senior Honorary Consul for the Republic of Guinea to the United States. And I served in that role for military affairs. I currently serve as Lieutenant Commander Daniels of the Ohio Command of the National Association of Black Veterans, a Veterans Administrative Veteran Service Organization. I'm a member of the African Scientific Institute Fellowship, which is over 2,000 hard scientists, technologists, engineers, mathematicians, medical, no soft science people, that I was inducted by the late Lee Cherry into that organization. And we are now in the process, before this call, of creating a Mission Impossible type of scenario within the fellowship of over 2,000 to come up with the support of creating an infrastructure in the United Nations for the permanent forum on people of African descent. We started this work on October 2013 at the consultation of the African Union in New York on Agenda 2063. And now in this year, 2021, with all countries of the world through the World Conference of Mayors, we offer a twin city program. It is, think of it as the our own sister city program. And plus, we offer within the context of the World Conference of Mayors, Historic Black Towns and Settlements Alliance, the ability to provide a network with already established and that is in place with the National Policy Alliance, the Congressional Black Caucus, Blacks in Government, a whole infrastructural relationship that's available. And the newest addition to that within the Friends of the African Union family is UNESCO clubs, centers, and in association with UNESCO with their infrastructure, so that in each country that we can put clubs, we can put centers that would be tied into the UNESCO mission for education, cultural, scientific organization, as well as in each country that is not a member of the World Network Alliance for United Nations Associations, that we can go in either way and working with you to implement that program of action. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much, Herschel Daniels. As I mentioned to you, there are other people invited. One of those people is very important. His name is Bobby Hines. He's here in Los Angeles as the trade representative, or I should say a representative of the International Trade Administration. I don't know if he will be able to attend, but I'm going to give him up to the half hour. So in the meantime, I want to take this opportunity to invite or to allow the guests that I've invited to introduce themselves. If you'd be so kind to assist me, any of you that are at a computer, if you could type into the chat your contact information and your website, that would be very helpful. I do want to say that my own role, even though I'm not a veteran, I'm the son of a veteran, but I am working very closely and have been since 2000 with an organization called Global Business Incubation that's based here in Los Angeles. It was founded on the campus of Loyola Marymount University in 1991, where they have a branch called GBI Emerald Veterans. So among that, that was a clarion call that forced me to step up to connect what I understand is available through His Excellency Balde, along with what Herschel is bringing to the table. But one of the first people that joined us was from South Africa, my daughter, Princess Seppi Motlong from the Batlokwa Nation. However, she's also the founder of the Future Lift Foundation as well, focusing, and she'll explain to you what the focus is, but she may not tell you that she's in her role as Vice President of the IDO Network of Royalty throughout South Africa, Southern Africa. She's in touch with multiple traditional leaders on the ground as well. But more importantly, she has her own business called Naledi and Seppi. And so the idea is that for any business that involves South Africa, our task is to work through our own network. But Princess Seppi, I understand it's late there now, but please take this time to introduce yourself and let us proceed from there. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Your Royal Highness, Prince Andrew Williams, and greetings to everyone who is in the meeting. This is indeed Her Royal Highness Princess Seppi from the Royal Batlokwa Nation in Southern Africa. just to help everybody to understand who we are. If you be so kind when you research, you will find the Queen Mantatisi of Batlokwa. That is who we originate from. Our queen, our mother, who really has built this nation that has been so long alive. So it was just to help everybody. I will put in the chat as well. Yes, I am here in South Africa, and I'm quite happy to have been invited in this quite a meeting, and I'll be listening. I am very much, the list is quite long, but what Prince Andrew has already alluded to is quite correct. And we will see how do we move forward from this meeting with our engagements, but quite glad to be here and very honored to have been invited indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much as well. Victoria, my habit is to introduce all the women first. So I do want to let you know that Victoria has been introduced to me as the CEO and co-founder of the One Group organization out of Nigeria. And they have been so honored me with the opportunity to request that I become involved with them to head up their international advisory board. But because they are in Nigeria, which is also part of ECOWAS, I would like for you, if you could, Victoria, unmute and introduce yourself and tell us about One Group. And again, put the information in the chat if you'd be so kind.
Okay, hello everyone. It's nice to be here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Andrew, for the opportunity to introduce One Group in this forum. My name is Victoria, as Mr. Andrew has said. Victoria ECOWAS. I'm the CEO and co-founder of One Group. One Group is here in Nigeria, Africa, and we are all about introducing solar energy to Nigerians. We are also involved in financial technology. We loan market women and market men money to get their products into the market. And we also do this. We also introduce this opportunity to the higher institutions where students are able to incorporate our One Kiosk and our One Bank, where they're able to incorporate it as entrepreneurs. And yeah, that's it from One Group. We just started. We started late last year, 2020, and we've been quite successful. In the past 6 months, it's been a successful trend. It's been a successful business in the past 6 months. And we're actually happy to be here in this forum and to meet everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew.
Okay, thank you so very much. Both Princess Debbie and I are on the Jet Age Steering Committee, and Dr. Young Piero is here representing Jet Age, along with Fred as well. So if you could be so kind, and again, I am in the position of being asked to step in as the international, or the chairperson of their international advisory board. So this is really an in-house and family-oriented effort. So Dr. Piero, could you please unmute and introduce yourself and tell us about Jet Age? And yes, tell us about Jet Age, please.
Yes, good evening from Nigeria. I'm currently in Nigeria. I came in yesterday because of the Jet Age event that is coming.
We lost your sound. Say it one more time. We lost your sound. Well, Fred, if you can hear us, perhaps you could step in for Dr. Piero. I'm unable to hear him unless you are.
A little bit here. public protocol as an exhibition. So let me go on that. It's a continental with the government and member states. We were also to the ACC African Pacific Caribbean Joint Session with the European Union. We're working with the African Union to see how best that the free trade zone will be of reality to every African. Our main goal here is to bridge the gap between the government and the people, open Africa to for Africans in diaspora to be able to come in to do business, while policies of the government will be favorable to everyone. We also create a platform for young brands to partner with big brands as we agitate for industrialized Africa. So as we speak, Africa is open. We're bringing the cryptocurrency and the blockchain into Africa like never before. As we are launching Africa for the 21st century, and where we look forward to see all of these things coming to pass, so that we can actually pass mantle of the 21st century to generations to come. Let me know if I bore you with introducing what the JET is all about, but I'll just show him what we are doing now. We are currently expecting 25 nations of Africa to be in Nigeria on the 6th of December. We're expecting all diplomatic communities, all embassies in Nigeria representing their countries to be on that platform too. Yes, we don't just discuss. We want to see how we can be walking the talk. And like never before, we did the last program in Ethiopia, and we have gotten some deals signed, like the mining company have been opened up to foreign investors that is currently going on now. The Jet Age has won the award as the new spirit of Africa, alongside with the Ethiopian airline. So we look forward as we start the preparation. His Highness Andrew, we also pass this information to Africans in diaspora and everyone that needs to be on board, as we look forward to welcome you on board. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Fred, you're also a member of Jet Age, but you deal in the commodities industry, and we have commodities experts at our table now. So Fred, tell us about your company and your background, please, if you could, Fred.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure being in the midst of these great people. My name is Dr. Fred Afro-George. I'm the chairman of MA Ventures Services Limited. We're into the oil industry. We are major contractors, and we are a generic company that registered with major oil companies in Nigeria, such as Chevron, Shell Mobil, and the Nigeria petroleum industry. So we've been in business for over 20 years, and we have a great record around Nigeria and West Africa. We are actually open to every kind of professional service to any oil or a government industry. We take every of our projects professionally, and we are ready to also give out our experience to encourage every upcoming Africa. I'm a member of Jet Age, an award winner in Jet Age as well, and I will be supporting Jet Age to achieve the drive in bringing Africans together to obtain his goal. So I won't want to say much here, but I'm very open for being among these members. And I sincerely want to thank you, Your Royal Highness, for this great opportunity to be among these great team of members. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. George. Dr. Otats Yellow, could you please introduce yourself? And again, I'm sure we've all introduced ourselves before, but we have new family members, and I believe you have a guest. So Dr. Otats Yellow, if you could introduce yourself and your guest, I would certainly appreciate it. And then the guest can introduce himself. Thank you.
All right, Your Excellency. One of my guests is Chief IGP Okoni. Chief IGP Okoni, could you please introduce yourself? I'm actually in a very noisy place, so I have to step out and be able to speak clearly. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we hear you clearly. Thank you.
All right. So Chief IGP Okoni, can you introduce yourself? And the next person is Dr. Gondo. Dr. Gondo, please. You can take your turns with the introduction.
Okay, Chief Okoni there. Okay, this is Dr. Joseph Ogundu.
Right.
I am located here in the state of Michigan. I'm a leader of a consulting firm called Emerald Global Consulting. I have been in the Michigan area for over 35 years now. I did my doctorate degree out of industrial and manufacturing systems, where I worked at GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Then I left Chrysler to join an organization in Oregon called Country Coach as executive director. I left as vice president to start my own consulting firm. Since then, I have been in the consulting business since 2007. So I do consulting work here in the area in Michigan. I'm going to get involved in nonprofit activities with other people. So Chief Okoni and Chief Yellow invited me to listen to the beautiful program, good program that you guys have here. So I look forward to at least participating and sharing some information with the esteemed honorable men and gentlemen and ladies. Thank you very much.
Okay, I am Chief Perry Okoni. I'm calling in from Canada, Calgary. I've been in Nigeria most of my life, but I came into Calgary 10 years ago. I like what you're talking about. And I've been involved in a lot of this while I was in Nigeria, sustainable development and engaging the youth. One of the problems we have back in Nigeria, and I think most of Africa, is not engaging the youth. And I did a lot, even in the last constitutional conference in Nigeria, I got an article inserted to provide for what do we do to engage the youths and help them grow into responsible citizens. That report has not yet been implemented, but it managed to find its way into the conference. I've been involved in sustainable development in some little ways. I owned a community bank, which gave facilities to women and people who couldn't afford to go to bank and provide a collateral. And it worked for a while until policies came in and made it impossible to continue running the outfit without collateral. That was the breakneck issue with those community bank stuff. So I'm very interested in what you're talking about. I'd like to be a part of it and see how I can further achieve some success in engaging the youths and making them more responsible as they grow up into leaders of the nation. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you, Otats, for inviting me.
Yes, you're very welcome. Also, Dr. Otats, Chief Otats will forward you the email that gives you attachments and give you background about the people that are here. So you have a bit more understanding about what that is. We've just had someone new to join us. and it's a name I don't recognize. Oh yes, this is the attorney, I believe, for one group. Could you please unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. Good evening here in Nigeria. My name is Iyanolowa Xiaomi, and I'm a legal advisor for One Group. Nice to be here.
That was short and sweet. Okay, Herschel, before we turn it over to His Excellency Sharif, I intentionally invited Don Polk here. So I'm going to ask if I could have your, if I may have your authorization, Herschel, to first allow Don introduce himself, because, and then Michael, and then we'll circle back around. So if Don Polk, if you could unmute and introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone. I just want to make some opening comments, and I'm going to say something brief about what I do. Janice, I just want to say to you, certainly nice meeting you as well, and just want to let you know that I'm married to a Cape Verdean. So I can relate to what you're doing very, very much. In fact, you favor a lot one of my nieces, Reed Perry. So it was just something to hear you and watch you, and know that I'm very close to the family, so to speak. Also, we do a lot of business in Africa, different countries in Africa. We work closely with a team in South Africa, boots on the ground, like Guinea, Chakureba. Prince Zolani Makiva knows who I am there. I think you guys, I think you know who he is. And in Nigeria, we have boots on the ground, Kemi Fotojina, who is one of the, I'll just say, close companions of someone else I met and looking to do business with. And that's the Imperial Majesty King, I won't say all of his names, King Adeyaye Ojaja II. So we have a lot of ties. We're developing from a production standpoint. We're producers, exporters, and importers, depending on the country, of Ethiopian coffee. We have a full-scale operation there, along with Vantera Coffee Bean Company here in the United States. We'll soon be noted as certainly the largest African-American owned coffee company in the country. And in fact, I'll give that by the end of this this year. And Vantera started just over a year ago. We're also involved with Sierra Leone. We're importing gold out of Sierra Leone. So we're in multiple products, gold, diamonds, both rough and polished, coffee, petroleum products, especially here in the United States, where we are involved with refined petroleum products. We have about 45 different products that we produce on a private label basis and distribute. So we're looking to, and we're also into healthcare in a prominent way, looking to be a provider whereby we can help ensure parity as relates to the disparity in healthcare for especially Black people and, or I should say Black and brown, but our emphasis on African Americans, including and equally as important, a focus on the continent of Africa and, or the continent Africa. And we have a lot of interest. We're working to develop a program in Gambia, and again, other countries as we can. So we hope to be involved with players. That's really what we do. We develop business both from a purchasing standpoint and a selling standpoint based on what I call established relationships of influence. We don't start from the bottom. We develop beginners, but we don't, try to do business with beginners that are not ready to do business on the main stage. But we will develop, and we believe in making sure that we help companies to start to grow and to develop a business that's going to sustain. So what we're looking to do is, I have a plan where we can, and Andrew even touched on it earlier, but we can purchase major volume as far as products are concerned. We can sell major volumes, what we do every week. And then we can take profits and start feeding these organizations. So instead of these very important organizations struggling to fulfill their budget needs, we can help with those budgets so that these organizations can sustain and do what's necessary, especially, or I should say, including organizations like World Conference of Mayors, National Policy Alliance, Historical Black Towns, and many others. So that's my introduction. Looking forward to working with you and this illustrious team. I love it when I hear this kind of skill set and wherewithal and capacity and capability. So cheers to all of you.
Well, thank you so very much, Don. I really appreciate that. And just to let you know, as far as I'm concerned, in working with Herschel and his team, you came in through Herschel. So we're gonna lean on your expertise because compliance is one of the major hurdles, and it's also one of the major criteria. So it is, in fact, compliance that will drive everything we do. So everyone on this line has to be ready to identify what it is you do, what it is you bring to the table, and be ready to specify what the task is. And I would like to also say that I would like for each of us to understand, I want to come out of this with a commitment for us to work together, but I think it's reasonable that we assign ourselves a value to our time, just an arbitrary number, like $300 per hour for each of us as we work on our projects as a deferred compensation, because the intent is for us to generate income, but it doesn't make sense to generate income if we don't keep ourselves surviving as we go along. However, that's a separate point. I believe there's two other people that need to introduce themselves. Michael Harris in particular, just to let everyone else know, Don and I are here in Los Angeles, California. And Michael Harris is in Sacramento, California, which is the capital of the state of California. And he'll be happy to tell you that California was named after Queen Khalifa, an Amazon. And here in Los Angeles, I'm right now at 5 Points Youth Foundation. I'm on land by the Tavanga people, the indigenous people. So Princess Seppi in South Africa and the chiefs that you heard, they too represent indigenous people around the world. So the effort is for us to be the ones to eliminate the barriers between ourselves and work together as a family. But Michael Harris, please come in, because one of the reasons I wanted to make sure you're here, I know how much work you've been doing recently. I just got to know the work you've been doing, particularly about the Buffalo Soldiers. But of course, Buffalo Soldiers were veterans. And so you heard me mention Bobby Hines earlier. So Michael Harris, if you could let us know how we can begin to connect together what you bring to the table with what we're doing here to deliver veterans solutions throughout the world in Africa through this network here. But Michael Harris, I'll turn it over to you, and then I'll come back to you, Herschel, and then we'll go over to Paul Ruffin, who just came in. Thank you so much, Michael.
Well, greetings, everyone. My name is Michael Harris. I was born here in the state of California, the capital, Sacramento. The idea that California is named after Queen Calafia, a woman of African ancestry, as well as indigenous to this soil. Khalifa, as some of us here, I'm not Muslim, but I'm familiar with Khalifa being a title in the Arabic world. The idea that for 20 years, here in the #1 ag economy in the United States, I've been the director of Black Farmers and Ag and veteran, a lot of scar tissue, just trying to get to ground zero with Black farmers actually being able to be in the agribusiness world. As alluded to, I do work for 5 years now, leading the California Buffalo Soldier Project. I'm a veteran. I fix medical machines, biomedical equipment technician. And when I was stationed at the Presidio, which is in San Francisco, fixing medical machines, nobody told me that there were 500 Buffalo soldiers buried out there. You know, the men that fought, bled, and died during the Civil War for the nation to be unified, as well as for people of African descent to be free. And those Buffalo soldiers, one in particular, the only officer, was born enslaved and died in Nigeria. He was an attaché based out of Liberia, helped building roads, bridges as an engineer, and looking at how to use his skill set as a U.S. Army officer to help stabilize the region. And he ironically died in Lagos, Nigeria. And we were just celebrating July 28th is National Buffalo Soldiers Day. There's no connectivity greater than Black men and women on the battlefield. That's how we were enslaved. We were prisoners of war. So the connection that we have now as Black veterans with the highest level of the military in the state of California, we're right now today lumped in as minorities. And just 3 weeks ago, we had the first conversation to just call us Black veterans and receive equitable services and the opportunities that we've earned on the, serving. So right now I'm at a veterans facility, nation's finest, on the historic Mayfield Air Force Base, where B-52 bombers are one of the largest air bases in California. And right behind that is where Aerojet is, where the first fuel was created, sending rockets to space. So there's a direct linkage that we can use now, taking the best of appropriate technology of California. And of course, the 5th largest economy on the planet is California. So we have a role and responsibility here in California to be better members of the family globally and make good use of us because, we were, I'll just say it like this, we were prisoners of war and we've been disconnected for far too long. And now we have this tool and many others, this Facebook, this, digital divide is not a divide. And I'll stop and say this: if it wasn't for Philip Igmewale and using the drum, the claves, the rhythms of the drum, the bite wouldn't happen, the internet wouldn't be on. Philip Igmewale, brother from Nigeria, reportedly was the one who networked all the computers together to turn this thing on in the first place, the internet. So I'll stop there.
Well, you stopped so abruptly, I couldn't get my mute button unmuted. But thank you, Michael. Dr. Paul Ruffin, I introduced you briefly, or I introduced earlier briefly, how I'm bringing to this collaboration my extended position as Zero-Time Solutions Facilitator for Global Business Incubation. And of that, GBI Emerald Veterans is an organization that you can best represent and introduce. So Dr. Ruffin, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the attachments, but among the projects that His Excellency Sharif Balday brought to the table, it involves telecommunications and cybersecurity as two of the key deliverables that have to be dealt with in dealing with the needs of the country of the Gambia and for their internal use, but also extending from the Gambia throughout ECOWAS and extending from the ECOWAS throughout the entire African continent, because the idea is that the African Continental Free Trade Area is a prime target for the expertise that we can deliver in and through the United States into Africa, but we have to bring the world-class solutions. You tentatively, you regularly leave out your own background. And so I would like for you, Paul Ruffin, to please introduce yourself and your background first, and then the Emerald veterans, if you
Sure.
feel kind.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Prince Andrew. It's an honor to be able to have been invited and to be part of this forum today. My name is Paul Ruffin. I have a background in business development and technology. I grew up in Silicon Valley and started doing systems and exporting in 1978 officially, and started, my training in about 1976. Having said that, I was part of Trans-Africa International, the TAI that was not the political arm, but was the business arm in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, prior to Charles Taylor's and the Blood Diamond conflict that has been purported. But we were functioning as a Fortune 50 corporation in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, and working the west coast of Africa back in 1978, 79, 80. Actually, W. Warner Beckett was more involved in the African continent, along with people like Reverend Robinson and some of the people that currently are part of the Trans-Africa International political arm back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So eventually Trans-Africa became, we started functioning as the consulate for the Republic of Sierra Leone on the West Coast. And I became consul pro tem for the Republic of Sierra Leone. Prior to the situation with Momo, which led into Charles Taylor's deal, we were, Trans-Africa was actually in the position we were getting ready to function as the foreign exchange agents for Sierra Leone and also Liberia. Trans-Africa was constructed as a corporation that was 48% owned here in the U.S., 52% owned in the African market. We had partners such as Barclays Bank and many governmental contracts, not only there, but also including here with HUD, because we were very much involved in economic development and community development, housing, water infrastructure. I have been involved in infrastructure all my life. Besides technology, I also have a background in water treatment and the production of water. Leading into that, I've had a number of experiences in business. I currently function as the Executive Vice President for Global Business Incubation, which is the covering for GBI Emerald Vets. Global Business Incubation was a corporation founded by veterans in 1991 on the campus of Loyola Marymount University, and to date has been responsible for over $2.2 billion in economic development in the Los Angeles area. Founded by veterans and, interesting enough, Black veterans. Much of what we know today in the world of business incubation was developed and through GBI. When you begin to track back some of the current concepts and approaches that we deal with, particularly in the realm of zero-time virtual worlds, business incubation and acceleration. We were founded out of the, as I said, on the campus of La Loyola Marymount University, in connection with one of the advisors to the consortium that created GBI was Dr. George Kosmeski himself. That name will be familiar to some of those who are familiar with Silicon Valley in California, and also with Technopolis, which was the first Silicon Valley in Austin, Texas. But basically, Dr. Kosmeski was the founder and one of the originators of Silicon Valley itself. He was the founder of Teledyne, which some of you will note that is one of the world's largest telecommunication companies or corporations in the world. Also, too, having a background in technology, I function as the CEO and for ECI Networks. We're a communications technology company. We've been involved in digital technologies, computer technologies, and process controlled systems since well over 2000 when we formed. We own our own data centers. We actually have our own supercomputer that was built in connection with what we're doing with our veteran initiative. Having said that, that brought us into what we're doing now with GBI Emerald Vets, which is an initiative out of GBI, where we work with and function in the realm of cause marketing, looking and working with veterans and veteran-owned businesses. Now, out of GBI, 5 years ago, we developed a collaboration between GBI Emerald Vets and the American Legion in Minnesota, actually in post-96, and began to develop and implement a concept called welcomehome.vet, in which we started moving marketing and conceptual understanding of the veteran community, not as a deficit, but as an asset. Most people realize that veterans, and also too, just to let you know, I'm the son of a vet. My father, as a Black man, was 3 wars, World War II, World War Korea, and also Vietnam. I'm the only son, so I wasn't actually able to serve, but I did serve, as I said, in my role as the State Department as Counsel Pro Tem for the Republic of Sierra Leone. Now, our Welcome Home Vet initiative has been focused, and we've been very successful here in the state of Minnesota. We actually even have a city who utilizes our name as part of their branding and marketing material, because they understand why veterans are important. Veterans are 100% skilled, we're 100% committed. 90% of us are employable, 80% of us are entrepreneurial. According to the Department of Labor statistics, veteran entrepreneurs in this country produce 10% of the GDP in the United States. We are a force to be reckoned with, an embedded force ready to respond, both for economic development and community development. Currently, the city in which we, for lack of a better way of saying it, manifested our program, our initiative, and the organization is now considered by the state of Minnesota as one of the top cities to model their economic development program behind. And they will, and if you call them directly, they will reference their Welcome Home Vet initiative as part of the main reason that it is working in the way that it is. So in that respect, working and incubating and accelerating veteran entrepreneurs, and also providing services that wrap around that also deal with veteran networking, veteran, spirituality, skills training, employment. And we actually have 10 points that we cover for the wraparound initiative to work within any city that we replicate this particular initiative in. And I continue to say that Welcome Home Vet is an initiative that, because it requires the coming together of multiple organizations in order to lay out a plan that will benefit the city, 3 and 5 years in the making. So if there's anything else, Andrew, I hopefully I covered it for you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, and I'll go on mute.
All right, thank you so much. There are two people that weren't able to join us related to this. One is General Arnold Gordon Bray. He's a retired brigadier general, and he's been working closely with Emerald veterans, but he's also a consultant. He served throughout Africa during his term. He's also a West Point graduate, Michael, as is Gerald Bennett, who was also the first Black quarterback of the West Point. Very successful. But the outcome we're trying to accomplish is to take advantage of the trillions of dollars, as I've said, being spent all around us. In particular, right now, there is a specific agency. It's called Prosper Africa, that takes a whole of government approach to delivering solutions, not just to United States businesses that want to do business throughout the world, but they also work directly with those businesses in those other countries. Everyone on this line from Africa, there's a U.S. trade ready to work with you there and work with us here to connect the dots for what we're trying to accomplish. I earlier sent out a list of the U.S. consulates that are here in Los Angeles. We have the 3rd largest consulate corps in the United States. So diplomatically, the sooner we can just execute a memorandum of understanding amongst ourselves and then engage our consular representatives with Prosper Africa and our international trade representatives, we can then move forward to execute on a timely manner. I'm going to turn this back over to you now, Herschel, and then to His Excellency Balde.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Someone else joined whose name I do not know. So if you have not been introduced, please. If there's,
all right.
Yeah, all right, Herschel, ball's in your court.
So let's take a specific, we had a meeting with the highest ranking officer in the new Biden administration on the veterans, who it was established March 2021, the Office of Partnership and Faith-Based Organizations. So we've had that meeting to execute this plan of action. We've also in California with Michael, we had a meeting, as he said, with CalVets, and to establish a Black veterans program for California. In the memorandum of understanding that we are talking about executing will contain not only those two facts, but will also contain the initiative from California for Nigeria that we started in Nigeria in 2018 with the government of Nigeria through the Universal Periodic Review of the 3rd cycle of the country of Nigeria. 2019, the country agreed to sell off the natural gas that is being burnt off. In March of 2020, we had a trade mission with the United States government to Nigeria, and Gold Key service was initiated through the embassy because with 7 heart attacks, there's only one place in the whole continent of Africa that has the heart level surgery capacity that if I needed it with my 8 stents, and after 7 heart attacks and 3 deaths that I could go to, and that's in South Africa in one city. And so as a result, we were using the U.S. Embassy as a gold key service to do this in March of 2020. And of course, COVID hit, shut everything down. And then in April, of course, killed the chief of staff to the president of Nigeria, who was the man behind the whole idea of Nigeria selling off its burnt gas over a 75-year contract to create a special purpose vehicle, which would have created approximately $1.2 trillion worth of funding. The reason we could do that is that we currently have in place $298 billion worth of community benefit agreements, the largest one of which starts in January 2022 for $88 billion. We currently have a $30 billion agreement with a Federal Reserve Bank that we would be using in California. That would be our center point that we bank with currently, and as a nonprofit 501c3 in good standing in California, we are a fiduciary for an already established program in LA County. So in California, we would go from San Diego to Los Angeles County. Yes, Andrew. We can't hear you. We see you speaking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Due to the time constraints, I'm going to ask anyone, there are at least 2 people on the call that have not introduced themselves. I don't recognize them. So they can only be here by invitation. So I'm not really concerned about our security, but who are you? Please introduce yourself if you've not already done so before we move forward. Okay, then we'll go forward. His Excellency Sharif Balday. Everything you've heard so far has been only for the privilege of sharing with you the resources that we have. So please, Sharif Balday, if you'd unmute and introduce yourself and let us know of the projects that you have on tap, what are your priorities so we can move swiftly to get into action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness, and greetings to all the honorable gentlemen and women and royal princesses here present. It's an honor to have this diverse expertise and wonderful personalities come together in making our dreams realized. I must commend you and Hassel Daniels for initiating this platform and create this special purpose vehicle to start with the Gambia. As you already have disclosed the projects that we want to engage in, which are strictly technology-based, information technology, housing, and some other military-related equipment-wise, which I am comfortable that we have enough representations that could help get this off the ground as a litmus test for the vast projects that are lined up in the continent. First, I must commend our sister in Cape Verde, and also would like to let her know we are planning a big function in Cape Verde headed by an African-American brother who's already built there a state-of-the-art music studio that could be anchored for a music brand of all African musicians. And we are planning to invite over 100 celebrities to Cape Verde. We would discuss with this special group as to how best we could improve that part also, because it's all part of the development for the SDGs. The other thing, I am highly encouraged that you have personalities that are well versed in incubation, training, setting up businesses, because most of them, as I heard, have had successful setups in Africa, but we are disrupted by unfortunate problems that were instilled from outside of the continent to create discord so that we would not have enough time and leverage to exploit our potential and resources. Although this is very unfortunate, but now we can cross this hurdle easily if we have this professional group, well focused, and more importantly, spearheaded by veterans whose training and expertise is to achieve goals in a unified and disciplined strategy. This we badly need to move our businesses and everything in Africa. I have today had a very good meeting with the Ministry of Information Technology and Communication Infrastructure of the Gambia, and they welcomed the idea of partnering with our group to move the telecommunication industry and make each and everyone within the geographical limits of the country access the technology and make maximum use of it. So in this case, I am already bringing in a 1.5 terabyte new submarine cable to the Gambia to give enough bandwidth for whatever we might need to launch from the Gambia and then spread it throughout the continent, because we are now almost getting all physical boundaries dissolved with this new AFCFTA Free Trade Commission that has been signed on the 1st of January this year. And we heavily count on your expertise and your knowledge and your resources in making this happen and secured. Just like our brother Hassel reminded us that they had started a wonderful project with the Nigerian government, but unfortunately, which even surprised me, that by the death of a chief of staff should stall such a wonderful project that was supposed to span for 75 years. And if need be, we can rekindle this project. And I would like also to remind you that the rest of sub-Saharan Africa needs this gas more than you might, the clients you might target to sell this gas for, because we need to preserve our environment and stop global warming by burning down our forests and everything. So we need to also ascertain every household in the continent to get a good energy resource for their cooking and heating and whatever they might need it for. So this gas also is heavily needed in Africa. I don't know whether it was considered to be distributed within the African countries or what. So we can work on that. And I also want to bring in one important part about Her Royal Highness Princess Seppi. She is opportune to be located in where the African Union Parliament is based in Midrand, South Africa. So we also need her connection and influence so that we have access to the lawmakers of the rest of the continent. I have access to some of them because of the fact that in the countries I'm relating with in ECOWAS, they are members to the Pan-African Parliament, but we need a better connection between our Africans of origin or brown people in the diaspora to interact with the continent more conveniently and confidently to boost the economic lives of each and every inhabitant of the continent. So instead of allowing foreign governments, foreign institutions to come and dominate our financial networks, our telecommunication networks, I think this is the right platform which we can introduce to the continent and get moving. So I also want to plead with you on trying to get Sierra Leone, the Gambia, and Ghana into this digital cybersecurity network. We need to protect these countries because as we are moving into a free trade economy across the continent, we need first consolidate the financial security and transactions like the blockchain and I don't know what viable digital coins we can work with because there are a lot of them being floated around since the launch of this. So the headquarters of the AFCFTA is in Ghana. And today I've been informed in a few days I'll be invited by the government of Ghana, and I would be very happy to transmit this message to the government of Ghana in helping the AFCFTA headquarters to be fully protected digitally and empowered to make sure that whatever transaction transpires within the continent is monitored and is secure. Because you all know, the experts know that Africa, especially the less developed countries within the continent are very vulnerable when it comes to technology. And we need to create an equal playing field to all the AFCFTA members, over 52, 55 member countries of the continent. And we are trying to see if we can partner with the Port of California. Here, we need to partner with this port and certain strategic ports on the continent to make sure that we invite industrials, like our industrialist brother in, I don't know, I've forgotten the name of the state where he is based, to come and develop industries that will add value to our natural resources and then export them to the Americas. And in doing so, we need to partner with very strong ports, and Port of California being one such port in the west coast of the United States. It's very important to partner with some ports like Lagos Port, Banjul Port, Abidjan, and we can have a very conducive way of shipping in products from landlocked countries in the continent to around the world and the Americas. So in a nutshell, as I must agree with Prince Yao, what made communism horrible is because they said everybody must work for the state free of charge. So even not giving due remunerations to talents that has been injected in developing the state. So we cannot work as charities whilst we are trying to develop potential to empower everyone who is needy of assistance and empower them economically to be economically independent and be active players. As our brother said about empowering the youth in Nigeria, first, we must make sure the best way to empower our people is to empower them with skills. So we like this mentoring facility in California and Los Angeles to mentor cadres, to mentor corps, and train them to become trainers, training of trainers. They come to Africa, come and transfer these skills to our youthful population, irrespective of any gender parity. We impart meaningful skills so that when the industries come in, we are not just stand-byers and are watching over expatriates flying. That is what underdeveloped this continent for all these decades. Simple jobs, like even a drill man of an oil well, you cannot find one in Africa. Unfortunately, in my country, we train a lot of potential oil workers in the oil fields, although we haven't discovered oil yet, and most of them has gone into greener pastures in the United States and other countries. So we need this empowerment of our people. And we also have to try and see all Africans as Africans, not as belonging to X and Y tribe, like it is happening now in Nigeria. I am a Fulani. I cannot go to certain states because they are killing Fulanis in those states, even Fulanis that are Nigerian. And I have heard of that business model, which they were giving loans to market women, market men, but I doubt if herdsmen were considered to be giving loans to develop good ranches and whatever, and even community ranches. So we have to think as people, not divided. We should not allow any minute division within our midst. And that happens both in the African continent and in the United States there. Most of us Africans there are segregated because they are not African American. So we must try and eradicate those hurdles and make our unison, our SPV, very unique. And as we are now fighting for recognition at the United Nations, then in reality, in our communities, we should identify ourselves as one people. Thank you very much, Your Highness. Prince Xiao.
Minister Balde, you're muted. Please unmute yourself, His Excellency.
All right. Can I put on the table a plan of action that we have on the continent?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
You were muted, so please do a Hollywood do-over for your last 2 minutes.
I have unmuted. I have unmuted. You should hear me now.
Yes, Andrew, he did
I'm
end it.
listening to Hassel. I'm listening to Hassel.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So I'll open up the floor for comments, but I do want to ask you, His Excellency Balde, what your priorities are. You sent me over a list of 8 different projects. So I'll turn it over to Herschel, but perhaps you'll feel more comfortable in replying to us later. Now that you know the skills that are at the table, I'll give you an opportunity to think over what it is you've found here today. These are the skill sets I'm suggesting that we can deliver to you. So Herschel, I'll turn it back over to you and then open the floor and then close.
Okay. So first, the communications, low-hanging fruit. Okay. In terms of the government, as we talked about, has the television license. The government has the ownership of a cellular license, and the government is willing to be the first of a landing port of a new cable, and specifically, I'm looking at a transatlantic cable, in particular with a hop oceanic headed to Brazil, South America to North America as the hop, as the L hop, versus a northern from the US to the Europe to the continent. So I'm looking for from the US to East Coast on the Americas to West Coast, was a landing at the Gambia as a primary. Secondary is in Ghana because of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The current hop on the transatlantic, the European is in South Africa. And of course, the link in Kenya relative to this. So that's a number one for us. I put in the chat the technology platform that we're working on, and that with the World Conference of Mayors and others in the Gambia, in particular, the healthcare technology driven by C7ISR3, which would be a patent pooled company that would create a communications, computing, control, command, connectivity, countermeasures, and e-commerce solution. It's in the chat. I will send it to you directly. That's our low-hanging fruit for veterans that we agreed on in principle to run from California as one of 10 states that would be contributing a veteran population from the 2 million veterans who are of the 23 million current veterans are people of African descent. And the goal is to get a commitment of 10,000 veterans to return to the Gambia, just like the Ghana as a planned unit development. Now in Ghana, I will be sending with you to the House of Chiefs under the orders of the Ashanti King, the letter of acceptance of the orders of the King that were issued in January of 2021 for the response for him. Okay, but there's others in the country, other kingdoms that have advanced, and they're particularly interested in the MRO. Okay, so they've already set up to do the MRO. And again, we've contacted an American manufacturer who's very much interested in partnering with us to make that happen. So I look at those two, the technology around the health medical technology and the airline with the MRO as low-hanging fruit that we can do from the Gambia and Ghana. Okay.
And Ghana, yeah.
Now, I also looked in Nigeria to revive that program. I was well on my way to doing that with the ITA based on the meeting last Thursday that I had with the Assistant Secretary of Department of Commerce, who used to be a man who was in charge of the bank-based community benefit agreement from Key Bank. So I didn't have to explain to him what I'm talking about and for us to use. And so within that construct, I look at the Nigerian project, especially seeing that this afternoon, the United Nations has now created a permanent forum on people of African descent. 1.6 billion people, we're together. Our first session is in 2022 in New York. Starting today at 7 p.m., we as civil society are going to take the next several weeks to outline what the civil society infrastructure in that permanent forum will be, because we have in our group organizations that are in ECOSOC status in the United Nations, that they will be able to, on the 8th of August, present the framework for such a plan that we started in the United Nations permanent forum, okay, on indigenous issues. On the 20th edition of that, we opened on April 29th as a side event in ECOSOC status, such a study that we're going to present on the Indigenous Peoples Day of August 8th, this work product. So I look forward to the input for all on this call around the call of action around veterans domestically, with a center in California with Michael Harris with FAU Sacramento as the lead, because he brought it together with CalVet to create a line around people of African descent.
Well, before you go, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Separately, I look for those who are into IT to be for the movement in the Gambia is around human rights, because Gambia, for the all of the African Union, is the headquarters for human rights. And so the perfection of the payment system that would be used for human rights has already been called for by the African Union. We participated in that. And it's our determination to provide that solution by August 25th of this month. And so for those who want in on that, whether it is for the healthcare aspects of that, whether it is the integration of the human rights portion or the digital payment system, that's a project. And so I will be following up, as Andrew said, is that the juniors, Andrew Williams Jr., Herschel Daniels Jr., within the context of creating the memorandum of understanding between all who are on this call. Andrew is, call it the chief operations of that, to make sure that the paperwork gets done. But last but not least, the top line for .Africa is in South Africa. And so within that context of us creating and owning our own as a cooperative in South Africa, I look forward to working with y'all to make this happen in the realm of the IT, the communications, the healthcare, and the technology. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, thank you so much. In the chat, I also put the LinkedIn for Prince, excuse me, Tumelo.
Already sent it, Andrew.
Okay, well, he's the cousin to Princess Seppi, but you need to understand too, compliance is important, but also protocol is important. So South Africa has developed a system where they prioritize women businesses, which is why Princess Seppi is so important. But Prince Tumelo is responsible for, he's a chartered accountant, and he's the chairperson of the Chartered Accountant Association throughout South Africa. Any business coming into South Africa technically has to go through his fingertips. So all that's on within our reach here. But in terms of California, before we leave, I would like Anthony Williams, who just joined us, to introduce himself, particularly to Michael and also Don, because he's here in Southern California, but he has, I'll let him say it. Anthony Williams, could you unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, guys. I'm sorry I'm late, but I ran into some issues. Yeah, my name's Anthony Williams, 22-year Navy veteran, retired. I'm the commander of the National Association for Black Veterans chapter here in Los Angeles, a congressionally chartered organization that has 32 chapters across the United States. I'm also one of the small business commissioners for the County of Los Angeles. I do business development, I teach business, and I work on independent projects. And I'd like to thank Andrew for, who I've known for 6 years now, or 7 years now, for inviting me to participate. I wish I could have got here earlier and heard some of this wonderful information, but I'm working on some different projects based on construction technology, developing contract analytics and things like that that might be of benefit as we work with our African business partners in different ways. And one of the things that I'm getting more into, in fact, I'm working on a project in Louisiana now with a developer. It's too expensive to do it here in California. It's 3D printing housing. And there are only 9 companies worldwide that do it now, and some of them have really mastered this. And I'm also working on different types of products that are organic, that have been Title 24'd by our government to make things not only energy efficient, but address potential health problems of the individuals who operate in these facilities. So my main forte, however, is helping structure small businesses, helping them compete for federal, state, and local contracting, plugging in their infrastructure so they can learn how to market, they can learn how to build their companies for sustainability as well as scalability. So that's what I do. And I appreciate you guys letting me express that. And so Andrew, who we've known each other 5 years, I think, Andrew. In those 5 years, I've always been aware and conscious of the wonderful things that Andrew is trying to do for our African-American community. And I always support any of his endeavors, particularly when I can lend my field where I'm a subject matter expert, that is the growth and development of Black entrepreneurship and Black-owned small businesses. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's very relevant because this is where the rubber meets the road. In addition to the 12 flagship projects that include the African Continental Free Trade Area, there are 5 legacy projects for the diaspora. Now, technically, that means the diaspora from Africa. So for all of you on the call here that are from Nigeria, from Cabo Verde, from the Gambia, from South Africa, understand that we here in Los Angeles are the melting pot for all that. Just like Johannesburg is a melting pot on the African continent, so is Los Angeles. What we need you to do is to begin to funnel to us here in Los Angeles all of those people that are from your diaspora that are here, so we can provide them with what the expertise that we have on the phone right now, because ideally what we do will impact one or more of those 5 legacy projects, not the least of which is the, as Herschel will tell you, the African Diaspora Financial Project, right? And that involves not just remittances that are now rivaling financial developmental aid, right? But during the pandemic, that money went up, not down. Here in the United States, we have women now who, through this Child Credit Act, have flooded money into their pockets. We need to develop entrepreneurship from those people from the African continent through this collaboration, because we are not concerned with barriers, we're concerned with connecting together the dots. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Herschel, and we can close and move on and decide what the next steps are.
Thank you, Andrew. So we're going to talk National Association of Black Veterans Business after the call. I'm in the Ohio Command, okay? And so let us have that call. We already have had the call with the Veterans Administration Office of Partnerships and Faith-Based. And so I need to give you some FYI on how we move forward on that. We've already in California for CalVets have set up the operations and the operations officer for that. So I'll give you 411 on that. For the whole idea of international trade business, our contact is through the International Trade Administration. And like I said, we had the Deputy Secretary Don Graves on the line, and what he's concerned about is workforce development. That was, and I will send to everybody on the domestic program and how international trade, okay, creates a workforce program demonstration with veterans in California. And in particular, NAVVETS is not, although you hear us say National Association of Black Veterans, we are a intergenerational, multicultural organization. And so that different chapters have different operations, but since 2010, since I've been involved in the organization, that we have examples of 202 housing that was done already. And so as a consequence, the whole idea of doing printer housing or next generation housing is intriguing for that. We do have on the table for everyone the connection with the World Conference of Mayors. I put the link in the for Twin Cities. That's our program right now. Okay, that we can execute how that works, because we just did Kansas, and before that we did Oklahoma. And so now our time to come back to California should be in September of this coming September, and the opening sessions before the opening sessions of the new General Assembly. The 76th General Assembly of the United States starts, I think, September 15th. The 75th closes out on September 13th. And again, here is the thing that we have right now. They have passed creation of next year. In fact, the strongest forum in the United Nations, with over 70 countries that are ruled by people of African descent. And that the civil society organization that goes to that can be formed out of us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to set a new call so that it will be in the morning also, so that those of you in Africa are not going to be have to be on the phone at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and so we will be setting that up.
Thank you.
All right, because I'm at 5 o'clock when I'm meeting with the African Development Bank. I'm always at, or the African CDC. I'm always at 4 or 5 a.m. my time to be on the call. But so we will set that up. But right now the calls are at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the end of the week, we will have an earlier call set up.
I can do that for tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So that's my agenda to get this done. Floor is open for comments, questions.
And please, everyone, type in your contact information in the chat if I don't have it, and I'll send out a copy of this to all of you. So any contact information. Also, you can save the chat. There's 3 buttons at the bottom right-hand side next to chat. If you click that, you can save the chat to your computer. But now, as Herschel says, the floor is open and then we'll close. So the floor is now open for any commentary or questions.
I just want to add in a quick commentary from the Gambia.
Floor is
yours.
Okay. Regarding the MROs, they are ready to go, both Gambia and Ghana. So we are awaiting any strategic movement from this special purpose vehicle to move them as soon as possible. The other thing that is ready also is a telecom fiber optic cable, and we welcome that transatlantic cable coming from the United States and also going towards to Brazil to connect all the continents that hosts Africans and others of African origin. The third thing is that tomorrow I am concluding to secure over 3,000 plots to build housing for the veterans that plan to come to the Gambia, and also get a special place allocated by the government for a very good referral hospital by the veterans in the continent and in the Gambia. Thank you very much.
All right. To that end, Your Excellency, I will, from the World Conference of Mayors, get a letter to you around our operations because we were just in the country in our mission. So we need to follow up on that. I will talk to our leaders, the mayoral leaders. I will have a discussion with them to have a follow-up discussion between me, you, and Andrew relative to that.
No problem. I am at your service. I'm ready to move.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Additional
from
questions?
From Cape Verde as well, we are ready to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone that has to leave, please feel free to. Make sure your contact information is in the chat, particularly those in Africa. Thank you so much for your time. In another, I think, hour and 15 minutes, we're going to start part 2 of this. But again, tomorrow we'll have a time set for Africa. It'll be earlier in the day for you. Thank you so much. We love you all.
No additional questions or comments?
Yeah, excuse me, this is Anthony Williams. I have a comment. Mr. Daniel, you said that there was some Black veteran issues that you wanted to discuss in part 2 of this. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're going to be online at 4 o'clock your time. There's Andrew, you want to give him the chat, okay, so he can sign in for the 7 o'clock call?
Yes.
All right.
And in parting, like I say, I apologize for being late, but it was nice meeting you guys, and I look forward to working for you guys to improve our socioeconomic status in our African American communities. Look forward to working with you guys.
Everybody be well, and know that you have a home in sunny California in the capital. Take care, everybody.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for this great meeting.
Your Highness, I sent you a LinkedIn. All right, so I went to your LinkedIn. I just sent you a LinkedIn. Let us have a talk about Black economic empowerment.
And in the chat, I did put the invitation for the upcoming event. These will be held daily through August 28th. You use the same link every time, but you do need to register first. So Anthony, that's for you and for anyone else that wants to attend. Again, for our Africans, tomorrow we'll have a time slot for you earlier in the day. So thank you all. If there's no further comments or questions, we're going to end this day's session. Okay, thank you all. Love you. We're going to